What is happening, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Infinite Snap podcast. I'm ShadowDTV, also known as Richie, and we got my boy here, Justin. How you doing, Justin?
Yeah, good, thanks. Hey, Ron, how's it going?
Good, that's good. Yeah, guys, how we doing? Chat. We're live here on YouTube. If you guys are listening to the podcast, we also stream it live every week on YouTube. Generally, we start around 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time now. We have daylight savings here in Australia. A lot of countries don't have that. Let's get into what we're going to be doing on today's episode. We're going to be discussing... so we were actually meant to have a guest on the show today, but some communication mishaps, mostly my fault, actually. So I've been a bit sick this week, so I just forgot to make sure that they were going to be able to do the episode, and so that was fully on me. But they will be here next week. We're going to keep it still a little bit on the down low on who it actually is, but they are a prominent Marvel Snap content creator, so it's going to be cool to have our first guest on next week, and hopefully we can just cascade from there and have more guests on. We're going to be talking about the card pools. I've noticed that a lot of new players are, wondering what the card pools actually are. So we're going to go over the different card pools, how you acquire cards in the game. Of course, a lot of veteran players are going to know most of this stuff, but we're going to have a little discussion on what we think of the card pool system and how we acquire cards. So that'll be a really interesting discussion. And we're going to discuss how much they actually impact the game. I had a fantastic comment on on the YouTube video of the stream from last week from Dr. Bingo, and they were asking to hear more things about more strategies and tips, specifically on when to snap and really actually their main question was when to snap and when to retreat, I guess, as an extension of that. So we're going to discuss that, go through some more strategy stuff on the show. I mean, we're going to bring what you guys are asking for. We've also got a little self-achievement that I wanted to tell you guys, but also we've actually got, it sparked an idea to go through some infinite decks. So maybe once a month, we'll go through, basically we're going to go through an infinite deck for Pool 1 players, Pool 2 players, and Pool 3 players. So no matter if you've just started the game or you're a veteran, we'll have a deck for you guys to play and try and hit infinite with. So that's going to be really, really cool. I thought that'd be a great thing to do. And of course, what would the Infinite Snap podcast be without playing Snap Who, our favorite Marvel Snap quiz game? Justin, whose turn is it actually to guess this week?
I think I guessed you gave me a card last week, so it's probably my turn to give you a card.
You're giving me a card. I like when I hit infinite, I kind of fall off the bandwagon a little bit. I still play Marvel Snap every day, but nowhere near as much as normal. So we'll see how my card knowledge is at the moment. But guys, we're going to roll the intro and we'll get straight into our topics. All right. So, Justin.
Yes.
Before this has become a reoccurring thing now. We always go through the featured locations for the week and just kind of talk a little bit about what we've been playing. So first up, Justin, what have you been doing this week? You've been playing some Marvel Snap?
I've been playing some Marvel Snap. Because I had hit Infinite a couple of weeks ago, I'm probably not playing as much, but definitely still as soon as 2 missions refresh, I'm definitely doing them pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
Season pass, still knocking those off. So I'm playing every day still, probably just not grinding as much, and I'm definitely playing new decks and different decks. I actually didn't know that once you hit Infinite, you can't drop below 100 rank.
Yeah.
So I was just mucking around, people are snapping and I'm oh yeah, it's not a big deal. They probably really should do something once you reach Infinite, because there's no incentive to progress further. And also I came across our good friend Black Thunder in one of the games. I think I actually even came across you.
Yeah.
And I had hit Infinite first, and I'm well, and we always snap against each other.
Yes, so that's the rule.
Eight cubes on the line, and I'm well, there's no benefit for me winning this game, so I'll just have fun with it and basically throw it at the end, because what's the point of me getting 8 cubes?
I think I was going to win anyway, but sure, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. We'll go with what you said. Yeah, I actually think that's an interesting point. They did say in the development roadmap that they were going to add, once you hit Infinite, there will be a rank system. I'd assume similar to Hearthstone. When you hit Legend in Hearthstone, you get given a number. So if you're like 5,000, you are currently the like 5,000th ranked player. So you're kind of now trying to get the lowest number. Basically, if you get to 1, you're the like number 1 ranked player for that server. So they did say they are going to do something like that, but it was towards the end of the roadmap. But I think it is kind of important for players that once you hit, like say you hit infinite like really early on in the season. I see streamers, content creators, some people like to just take it easy, play with decks, test decks, do some fun stuff, which is great. But there's also those players that hit infinite in like a day or 2 days. Like they play for like 12 hours, 18 hours. They just like smash it, get like rank up, hit infinite. What do you do for the next like 4 weeks? You're like
yeah, that's just it.
That's right.
You're kind of like the only reason. Well, for me personally, anyway, the only reason to play is to get credits and unlock new cards. There's probably no other reason why I'm playing right now.
So
to have fun.
Of course, like the game is fun, of course, but hear me out. If you hit infinite one season and you've completed your pool 3 cards, which you're very close to completing, are you going to open the game every day to keep leveling up your collection? What do you think is going to happen?
If I'm still having fun with the game,
sorry about that.
That's all right. If I'm still having fun with the game, I'll definitely like just play to get credits to save them up for future cards that come out. But yeah, again, then you're getting kind of so far ahead of the game because cards. Yeah, you're basically waiting for cards to come out that it can get a bit boring, I reckon.
So on what you just said, they have stated that when Pool 4 cards come out, so when they release new cards for us to collect, any caches that you have intentionally not opened will be opened for you. So you can't even like save up like resources to then unlock cards, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, well, I did see something recently, and I'm not sure if it's 100% correct, but apparently there's a cap on how many credits you can hold.
Yes, and I believe that is for like one of those things where it's like just holding resources to then spend them at a later date.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's definitely like, obviously they don't want to like the worst possible thing for Second Dinner would be to release new cards and then all the players who have like been at the start of the beta just unlock them instantly. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they've obviously thought about that. So I guess like we're close to hitting Pool 3, and then once we do hit Pool 3, like once we finish the Pool 3 cards, which like you're close to, pretty much anyone from Australia that played in the beta from the start would be close to having all the cards, if not already got them all. Obviously, people that had access to the beta earlier would have had them for a while. But obviously, new players are like still they're still unlocking cards. So yeah, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Like I'm just checking now. It's still exciting for me to unlock cards, and I've always stood by this card unlocking system that Second Dinner have implemented, and I think it's great. But yeah, I definitely think that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards to unlock, minus Thanos and Galactus. So 6 cards to go. That's probably like what, a week or 2, whatever.
That depends how lucky you are, but yeah.
Yeah. So after that, it's going to affect my playing time massively. I reckon I do think I'll drop off heaps.
Yeah.
I think they definitely need to do something, even if they're not in a position to release new cards quicker. They still will have to implement something once you hit infinite, just to give me incentive to keep opening the game every day. You know, like 50 credits and completing some missions is not enough to keep me coming every day. They need to do something more.
Yeah, so I think they would have that in the back of their minds. Obviously, with the massive influx of new players, with the global launch, it's probably not at the forefront of their mind right now. I think it's one of those things where you weigh up, you know, do we cater to the 1% that have unlocked everything, or the 99% that haven't? So I guess other features are probably more important for them right now. But I definitely agree with you that once those people that have just started playing in the last few weeks unlock everything, something has to drop by then for sure. I really hope the ranked sort of system does get implemented sooner rather than later. I see people posting like, I'm infinite 300, 400, 500. It's like, that's great. Like infinite 500, you're probably like one of the highest ranked, if not highest ranked players. But I don't know, because there's no it's just an arbitrary number that doesn't actually tells me that you're good at the game, but how good are you compared to other people? I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. They just need something, and I'm sure they will. They would have thought of it already, and they will have plans, and it will come. It's just a matter of when, I guess, and timing. They don't want us Australians who have had the game for as long as you and I have to drop off, not pick the game up every day, and then they implement something, because then they will have lost some of their players.
Yeah, I think it's a discussion to be had, but it's hopefully something happens in the near future. But again, I think they're even for me with content creation, it's like I could be doing all these new showing off these pool 3 decks, but most of the people watching content right now and playing the game are new players, so they want pool 1 decks, pool 2 decks, strategy guides. We're going to talk some strategy today, because although we have been playing for long enough that we know these things, there's so many people that are just starting to learn these concepts. So we definitely want to, I guess, cater to those people for sure. It's not all about I see people saying veteran, Marvel Snap beta player, and it's yeah, that's cool. I guess for letting people know that you have experience with the game, but really we're we want the new players to get all this info. So we're old news,
Yeah, we are old news. I was just gonna say, even with your YouTube channel and the videos that you're coming out with, I'm like, maybe there's this cool deck that Shadow's gonna get me to play, and then I look at it and it's pool 1 deck, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, that's great, but what about me? But you are focused on the new players, because that is the main people that are playing the game right now.
Well, it's that's who they're the players that we want playing the game. We want the more players playing the game, the longer the game's gonna live, the more updates we're gonna get. And so I'm enjoying playing these. It's actually almost a bit it's almost a bit it's not even it's been 3 months, 4 months we've been playing, but it feels nostalgic. I feel like I'm playing the game for the first time by pulling out a pool 1 deck that I haven't touched for 3 months maybe, and playing it and going these decks are actually really good. And then these hopefully someone will use this deck and realize hey, this deck's good, and play it. And if if one person, even with the podcast, if one person listens and gets something out of it, then we're pretty satisfied that
the job is done.
The job is done, that someone's learned something. All right, let's get into the featured location for this week. So we had Bar Sinister was the featured location. So this was the new location. It shows up in 40% of games for the 48 hours. What did you think of Bar Sinister?
Bar Sinister, it was interesting when I first started playing it. Then when I started coming across certain decks, it was just I hated it, to be honest. And the first thing that comes to my mind is just Nightcrawler. Turn one Nightcrawler, and then you move a Nightcrawler away. You put something in like Iron Man on turn 5, and then you move 3 Nightcrawlers away, you put in an Iron Man or whatever, and then you take the last one out, you put in an Onslaught, and you can do that and get in an Iron Man, Omega Red, and an Onslaught. It's just ridiculous.
It was stupid.
Yeah, it was insane. What I was doing with it, before I came across those decks.
So actually, before you get into it, do you want to explain what the location is, just in case someone might have not played with it that much? Sorry, that was my bad too. So Bar Sinister was when you play a card at the location, it fills the location with that card. So if you played Nightcrawler there, it would fill the location with Nightcrawlers. If you played Iron Man there, you'd get 4 Iron Man. It would fill it with Iron Man. But the combo you were talking about, which is people didn't figure it out, I guess, instantly. I'd say,
not straight away.
I feel like I'm sure some people did, and maybe didn't disclose it on social media.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe after 12 hours. People started realizing hey, if we put Nightcrawler there, it fills the location with Nightcrawlers. Then we can move one out, because Nightcrawler, you can move them once. Then we can play just one copy of a card there, move the rest out on turn 6 and play something like Onslaught. Get 3 Onslaughts with so the main combo I saw, which I used, was Nightcrawlers, Blue Marvel, move 1, play a Blue Marvel turn 5, and then move the rest out, play Onslaught. So you get 3 Onslaught and a Blue Marvel, and I don't even remember what number everything gets to, but 3 Onslaughts and Blue Marvel was just ridiculous numbers on all your other cards.
It was
yeah.
insane.
It was like
It was absolutely insane.
I think we saw
People were getting to like 2 million power, I think it was.
Yeah, so I think they hit the cap on. I think this was the first time we hit the cap on how many on the highest number you can get in Marvel Snap at one location.
Yeah, and that had something to do with Onslaughts and Iron Man.
I believe it was like Iron Man and 3 Onslaughts.
Yeah, it's just insane. Like, I don't know if they had thought about if that could happen, but just the fact that you can hit those numbers is broken. Like, that to me is like a bad location. But then again, that's only because it was the featured location that people were abusing it. If it comes up every now and then,
it'll be fun.
It probably is fun. So what the deck that I came up with and I was doing is I was playing a Destroy deck. Love my Destroy deck. I love Venom.
Venom was part of a good combo.
So I would play just say the Hood or something, something low cost. The Hood would give me a Demon, which is 1 power, one cost 6 power. And then on turn 4, I would put the Demon at Bar Sinister and then put Venom. Cool. The Demon would duplicate twice, so you get 3 of the Demon. Then it would play Venom. It would eat all of the demons.
Then Venom would spawn
to get the 6, 12, 18, and then Venom would spawn and eat itself 3 times.
Wow!
So you'd get something pretty big, and there'd only be one character in
that location.
One card in that location. So I would do that. Then I would play Taskmaster. Venom would get something like 60 or 70. Then I'd play Taskmaster and it's GG.
So someone told me, like, I posted a similar deck list with Hulkbuster and Venom, and someone tweeted at me saying that Venom, like, Taskmaster doesn't copy this like 60 plus power Venom.
No. It doesn't. It copies. That's right. It copies the last card that you played, so it's the first one.
Correct.
But still, that Taskmaster
still would be like
20 power.
Correct.
Or so.
Yeah. So it was pretty. That's like pretty nuts on its own. So like there was some like super super broken combos, but then like that combo that you did, I feel like in a regular game without it being featured, if that location showed up, you could still pull that off.
You can still pull that off. Like I didn't make a specific deck. I used a specific deck of mine because of that location, but I use that deck every now and then.
Yes. So you already played that. You'd already built that deck before the featured location.
Correct.
So so we kind of played similar sort of things. I did like a Venom deck as well, and then I saw like the Nightcrawler combo stuff, and I'm like, that's crazy. So I didn't play it a ton, but I did use that combo. I think as a location, it's fine when it's not featured. While it was featured, I think it was fine just because we had never had a location like this. So people actually, it wasn't like, oh, I already know what deck to play. Like, it wasn't like the Peak. For those who don't know, the Peak was basically like, it does what Mr. Negative does. It would swap the power and the energy cost of the cards in your hand. So people just played Mr. Negative decks. Like, that was just the answer. You play this deck or you counter the deck. Whereas people actually had to do deck building to figure out how to abuse the location this time. It wasn't like, oh, I just use that deck that has already been created. It just works better now with this location. We actually had people deck building and creating like crazy new stuff. So I think that was cool about it. Someone in chat said, that's a dev screw around location. And it's funny you say that, Drew Gore, in chat, because I actually saw one of the second dinner devs, I apologize, I forget who it was, that tweeted and said, this is like my favorite Marvel Snap location that we created. And it's true, because it's just like super, like I can just imagine them like writing it and just being like, this is going to be broke. Someone's going to break this like so badly. And I wonder if they were just sitting there like watching us figure out the decks, going like, they haven't found the Nightcrawler like like broken
Combo,
thing yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's cool. Like now that it's gone, I don't think anyone's going to complain about it. But I saw some people really pissed about this location on social media, on Twitter.
Yeah.
People were cut. They were so angry
Yeah.
about this location. They were like, "This is just it makes the game unplayable." And we've heard this before. For anyone new to Marvel Snap that have only had the game for a few weeks, I think it's like a weekly occurrence that there's people who complain about the featured location. I understand because it's 48 hours. It is a long time. If you play the game for, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours a day, that's 12 hours for the next 2 days. You're stuck with this location, which is a long time. So I do understand the frustration, but I think it was fine. To be honest, I didn't play with it that much. I actually had a lot on, so I guess that's why I'm not complaining about it. Maybe I would be if I played it more. Were you fine with it?
Yeah, I was fine with it. I was having fun with it. There's even like, green goblins that you put in there to put onto the
That was funny.
opposition side. So like there's stuff that you can do just to muck around. And you can still play normal decks. You're not always going to come across the person that's abusing it with an Iron Man.
A lot of
and
them are though.
A lot of them were, yeah. But I didn't see, like we keep saying, with the featured locations, it's probably not a big deal for people like us who play a fair bit.
Yeah.
Just because, we're going to put up with it for 2 days, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, so Urko in chat said, I did the bare minimum for the 48 hours. They literally avoided it like a lot of other people who really didn't enjoy it. And I understand, like, it can be frustrating if it's, you want to play a cool deck and the location, like, doesn't help it in any way. Yeah, so Bar Sinister, it's in the map pool now, or the location pool, sorry, map pool. I guess they're kind of like locations, maps. Anyway, Project Pegasus was the hot location. Now, the hot location are on Sundays for 24 hours, but they appear 60% of the time. And they are usually, well, so far they have been a location that we already have in the game. Just to change things up, shift the meta a little bit. Project Pegasus, Justin, what does this location do?
Project Pegasus +5 energy this turn. What deck were you playing during this? Oh, I can't hear. All right, I'll say what deck I was playing. I started playing a leader deck. It was pretty cool on when Project Pegasus came up. I would hit. I'm thinking that my opponent is going to play some crazy stuff. Because they've got 5+ energy to work with. So usually I'd play leader if I had it in hand, and then he would just spawn whatever they would spawn early on, which was like pretty cracked, and then I'd go on from there.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Leader, yeah, that's actually really funny. I didn't play a ton either on the Sunday, but I just played a big boys. Like I just played a ton of big cards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what was my main combo. I think I actually played a destroyer deck at one point as well. You could play destroyer on turn 1, which was just funny. Like,
yeah, that's pretty good actually. I saw a couple of people doing that.
Even that was like just completely fine. Like here's a 16 power card for free. And if it was like turn 2 or 3 that we got it, I could like throw out the hood and stuff and just like destroy them. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then I saw a lot of people playing like Lockjaw decks with like Infernaut, or even turn 1 Infernaut. Like I played like a Lockjaw deck. Infernaut's ability is if you played a card last turn, you can't play Infernaut. But turn 1, you didn't play any cards last turn, so you play Infernaut 20 power on turn 1.
But there was no last turn?
That's right. But the ability says
I guess
can't.
so.
If you played a card last turn, you can't play this. That's the wording. Yep. So I didn't
play a card last turn.
So you play a 20 power Infernaut on turn 1. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It was pretty cracked. So yeah, again, I think that, like, yes, this shifted deck building a very specific way. So like you wanted big cards in your hand. So if you're playing like a swarm deck, I mean, you could just empty your hand on turn 1, but that's not great. So yes, again, this like locations, when they're featured, they're generally going to like force deck building a certain way. But I mean, this one, 24 hours, didn't bother me too much. Saw a lot of like just Lockjaw decks, just destroyer decks, just anything with big cards really.
I saw a lot of
like Hela as well.
Yeah, or Professor X. Like,
you explain that.
It happens so many times where the first location comes up, it's Project Pegasus, and they would just throw out Professor X on I think I came across it on probably the last location on a few times, and just hope hope that you wouldn't play anything there.
Yeah.
And then if they win that location, they snap, and if they end up losing that location because I play something there, then they just retreat.
Yeah, that's like
It's pretty funny.
It happens so many times. It was like
It
turn
happened a
one,
couple of times.
turn one. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. I'll play my destroyer, and then they're like, ha, here's my 3 power to your 0. I win. Snap, and you're right. Instant snap every time.
Yeah,
there
snap.
was one great game where they played it at the 3rd location, hadn't been revealed yet on turn 1, played it, snapped, absolutely annihilated them at the other 2 locations. It got to turn 6 and they retreated at 4 cubes. I'm like, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it was like very, very cheesy, very trolly. The turn 1 Professor X. I thought it was funny though.
It's so good. Also, yeah, we got in the chat Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Shang-Chi did really well that day. You just have like 6 cost monsters spawning like Hulk and Giganto. Is that his name?
Yeah, Giganto.
And Shang-Chi just eats them up so easily.
Shang-Chi had a field day. That's true. Very, very yes. He was very, very full by the end after eating every card. Agatha. I saw some Agatha decks as well. Just like letting it play all the big cards from their hand. But yeah, it was.
I saw a couple of Agatha plays as well.
But yeah, I thought there was nothing wrong with it. It was fine. Other than those locations, what deck have you been playing?
What deck have I been playing? I've had a blank. Let me open the app. Oh yeah, all right, get this. I've been playing a Kingpin deck.
Oh, spicy.
Kingpin deck, yeah. Something really different, and like we were saying earlier, because my cubes don't really mean anything at the moment, I've just been having fun with it. So I've got Sunspot just for a 1-cost card that can get some pretty high power. I've got a Nightcrawler. He combos well with Miles Morales, which I'm playing in this deck.
So tell me the main cards.
So Miles, I got So Kingpin is the main card, right?
Of course.
I play Kingpin on turn 3, and then things that move there. Things that go well with Kingpin on turn 6 are either Magneto. Who moves all 3 or 4 cost cards to that location.
So what does Kingpin do?
Kingpin destroy cards here
on turn 6.
Destroy cards that are moved here on turn 6.
Move there on turn 6. So Magneto will move the 3 and 4 costs, your opponent's 3 and 4 costs there.
And destroy them.
And Kingpin will destroy them. I guess. Yeah, what else do you have that moves things?
Same thing with Arrow. Arrow is a 5/8.
Yep.
And Arrow is move all opposing cards played this turn to this location.
Yep, also
so
good.
I could also play Arrow on turn 6 where Kingpin is and just destroy all cards that the opponent played.
For sure.
That's pretty OP. Other than that, I've got like Professor X. Professor X is good because
you can win a location.
Why is Professor X good?
Because you can win a location and then guarantee you're going to win your Kingpin location. Yeah. I don't know, actually.
Professor X, I have to think about that one. I think like usually I have Professor X and Storm, and what I do with them is I play either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really. I don't know why I have Professor X.
Storm makes sense because you can like.
I have to have a think about that.
You can freeze.
I have Storm and Juggernaut, so you play Storm, and then the next turn they play something at Storm, and then I play Juggernaut.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. Do you have Polaris?
I have Polaris in the deck as well. And I also have Spider-Man. Actually, that's why I have Professor X. I play Spider-Man turn 4 to ensure that they can't play anything at that location next turn, and then I play Professor X to lock down that location.
So
and because I have a few cards that are moving cards around, even if it's the opposing cards, Miles still goes down to a 1 cost if I move an opposing card. So I've been playing that deck. It's been like it doesn't always work, but it's actually been pretty decent.
It sounds fun. Send me the list because I actually want to try that this week. I'll
send you the list. It's pretty fun.
I've never really played any like Juggernaut like cheesy decks, but I'm pretty sure I have all those cards now, so I would actually be able to play that. So yeah, that would be fun. Someone in chat, Yami, says you want to play Kingpin and Arrow both on turn 6 using Sarah. Yeah, do you have Sarah?
I do have Sarah.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm going to play Kingpin and Arrow both on turn 6 while using Sarah on turn 5.
Because what's Arrow is what, 5 5 cost.
Arrow's 5 cost.
So it goes to
Kingpin's
4
3.
and Kingpin goes to 2. Yeah, that's actually pretty sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually that makes total sense. I don't have Sarah. I'm like I've got like 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 cards left to unlock. Sarah's like such a big one. It opens so many deck building options. So hopefully unlock her soon. But yeah, send me that list. That'll be really cool.
I'll send you the list. I guess maybe putting Sarah in there is pretty good because
for sure.
When you play Kingpin early, they can tell what you're going to try and do, so they'll fill up that location.
When I come up against Kingpin decks, I'm just like, Kingpin, good luck. Just like fill it up, and then you're chilling.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a Deadpool like destroy deck. So basically trying to get Deadpool as big as possible, and then like taskmastering it, or like Venom, and then taskmastering Venom. And Death's in there as well. So just been playing that pretty standard like destroy deck, I guess, with Taskmaster to copy your high power cards. Nothing like really interesting there. Deadpool's a cool card.
It's a fun deck to play though.
I'd never really played it because I was missing like a couple cards. So you're running Magneto in your destroy deck. Yeah, sorry, in your Kingpin deck. Yeah, that's why I haven't played Move stuff because Kingpin stuff because I don't have Magneto.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, missing so many good cards. Anyway, let's get into one of our big topics today, card pools. Basically, we're going to discuss what the card pools are, mainly for newer players that are wondering like, what the heck are all these pools? It's been like the most asked question on any content, any tweets, anything I've posted. With if I've got the word pool 1, 2, or 3 in it, they're like, what the heck are these pools? So I think it is an important question. We kind of just picked it up as we started playing, but the game doesn't actually explain it. I don't think they really want to explain it. They kind of just want you to unlock cards as you play the game. They don't really want you to be like, oh, I don't get this card till, this level, so I'm going to like try and get to that level, which I think it's fine that people know when you unlock cards, but it's not explained. So we're going to go through it. We'll discuss a little bit what we think about the pools. So I guess if if you already know all this stuff, there's still going to be stuff we're going to discuss. Feel free in the chat to voice your opinion as well. Justin, I'm going to bring up these different pools and then we'll go through them. So we'll start with pool 1.
I was also just going to say before you do that, or you can get it up. Like when I started playing, there was like not much content being created on Marvel Snap. So I didn't see like all these pool 3 cards coming up on videos and whatnot. So, and they match you against people according to your collection level, right? So you're kind of just seeing other cards that you have also unlocked for the most part.
Yes.
So I didn't like that question wasn't really raised personally for me, but I can see why now. Now that we've had global launch, there's all these videos of like, best pool 3 deck, best meta deck and whatnot. And like these people who have just got the game, they're like, well, how do I get Mr. Negative or how do I get that card? And it really is just not explained to them. But I feel like it doesn't actually need, if you're just playing the game and you're not watching external content, it probably doesn't need to be explained.
Yep. I definitely agree with that. If you're just playing the game, you don't consume a lot of content. Like maybe you're a podcast person, you just listen to some Marvel Snap podcasts. If you're listening to this, I'd assume you listen to podcasts. And maybe other than that, you don't consume any Marvel Snap content. It might just be like your casual game that you play on the train or on your lunch break or, at your studies, you like when you have any downtime. So yeah, not everyone's like playing this game, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. So I definitely agree with you there. But I can understand when people look up YouTube videos and they see pool 1, pool 2, pool 3 being like, what the heck is this stuff? There's so much content with pool 3 cards from all the beta players. So just a caveat on this image, thank you to Snap News on Twitter for these. They posted these way back when the game came out. So some of this information is outdated, but we're going to like clarify a few things. So the collection for pool 1 is now up to level 222 of your collection level, not 214. So by the time you hit collection level 222, you should have all of these cards available to you. And it's important to understand that because if you're comparing your game to someone else, if you are both at 222, you will have the exact same cards. Whereas if you go over, like once you get into pool 2, you're going to be unlocking cards that people below that are still in pool 1 will not have. And there's actually no way to get those cards other than just unlocking them. And I think that's the big difference to something like Hearthstone. I can click a card in Hearthstone and see what pack it came from and then just go and open those packs if I really want to, or craft the card. Whereas in Marvel Snap, you have to unlock them through the collection system. So, Justin, did you want to, what's your thoughts on this? So essentially, up until 222, I should probably explain exactly what the pools are. So up until 222, these cards here shown on the screen. And if you're listening to the podcast, the audio format, I will have all of these on our Twitter at Infinite Snap Pod. So you can go there and see these images. Basically, all the cards here you will get, once you hit level 222 on your collection level, you will have all of these cards. Some of these cards have changed since the beta. Looking here, I think this is I believe this is actually pretty much correct. These are all the pool 1 cards. So, yes, at pool 1, by the time you get to 222, you will have all these cards. So any deck that says pool 1 deck, you should have all the cards to build that deck. Justin, what's your thoughts on the cards that you actually unlock in pool 1?
Yeah, I'm just having a look. What can I say about pool 1 cards? I think they are fairly basic, the pool 1 cards, as in they have fairly basic abilities. They're not too hard to play. There are a couple of cards that can get into they may be a little bit more hard to play, like move decks with Heimdall.
Yep.
Or even just playing Onslaught can be there's a bit of maths to go along with it.
For sure.
But other than that, I'm just having a look. There's a lot of on reveal cards, which are pretty easy to play, and I think the 1 cost cards, there's nothing overpowered for their cost, I'd say. Yeah. Everything's pretty straightforward, and it's pretty linear in regards to the turns that you play cards.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. There's nothing you're not cheating. You're not really cheating the cost of cards. If it's a 3 cost card, you're probably going to be playing it on turn 3. Whereas as you get into pool 2 and 3, you start getting cards that let you play cards earlier. I think of things like Lockjaw, Psylocke, Sarah. Yeah, they let you play cards. So you could play with Lockjaw. You could play a 6 cost card on turn 2, 3 or 4. If you get Lockjaw out even earlier, you could potentially play a 6 cost card on turn 1, assuming you find there's maybe Project Pegasus or something. You get a Lockjaw out, you could play a 1 cost card. So there's not really anything like that in this pool. But one thing I think is great about the game is there's a lot of meta cards in this pool. It's not you're here's a bunch of starter cards that you're never going to use once you unlock new cards. I can name just looking at this list, I probably used more than half of these cards in regular meta decks. We've got Onslaught is a massive one. Odin, Enchantress, Nova, Nightcrawler. I'm just looking at it. There's so many. Iron Man. There's so many good cards that you unlock early in the game. Do you think it's like Devil Dinosaur? This is crazy. Just looking at it.
There's some staples in pool 1. For definitely. Sure. I play a lot of these cards now. Yeah. Yeah, even Apocalypse. That's you don't have a discard deck really without Apocalypse, and that is the deck that I've hit Infinite with multiple times. So yeah. I remember pool one's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I remember someone saying in one of the podcasts, they said Apocalypse is a pool 3 card in pool 1. I'm his ability is just so good. Other cards I can see there, Blue Marvel. If you've been playing Marvel Snap for more than a week, you've probably used a lot of these cards. Angela is used in so many decks still. I think it's a great pool of cards. I think it's great to introduce you to the game because they're all fairly simple in how they operate. Nothing too crazy. Nothing super luck based. I guess White Tigers is a little bit luck based. But nothing super crazy. But everything's easy to understand. But they're also powerful. They're not hey, here's a bunch of junk cards. Yes, there are some junk cards looking at it. Quicksilver's a pretty bad card. Domino also pretty average, but I mean, you get them right when you start playing the game. But other than that, Professor X, we're just discussing how many decks use Professor X. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Just, some staples. Definitely some staples. I think one of the things I love about Marvel Snap is, so we start with pool 1. You create a deck. Just say you've just finished pool 1.
Yeah.
You have this great pool 1 deck. whether it's on reveal or on going or discard or whatever.
Yep.
And the cards that you were then unlocking from pool 2, you're not creating a whole new deck with pool 2 cards.
Yes.
You're actually just adding on to your pool 1
For
deck
sure.
and like upgrading the deck, which is awesome for deck building.
Do you think I'd be right in saying that even a lot of top tier decks would have at least maybe half of their cards be from pool 1 and 2? Like, yeah, just looking at this, I think that's like almost accurate. Like,
yeah, there's definitely some standout cards like Blue Marvel, Devil Dino, Apocalypse, Onslaught, Iron Man, America Chavez, Odin, Nightcrawler, Nova. Like, there's some awesome cards here. Yeah.
So yeah, Luke in chat says there's so many good cards, and then there's Cyclops. Don't hate on my boy Cyclops. Those Patriot decks. Don't let Cyclops fool you. Cyclops is Cyclops pretty bad. But yeah, so that's pool 1. Guys, after playing for like a week, you should pretty much have all of these cards if you're playing every day, which is great. You get a ton of cards early in the game. I think it's a good system, and there's a lot of good cards in here. So do not don't think like by not being at pool 3, in the first month of playing the game, like, oh, I'm missing out on all these cool decks. Sure, there are some cool decks that you can build with pool 3 cards, but you've actually got a ton of options. And just from going back and looking at all the pool 1 only decks that I could build, I was able to build a ton. Like there was just like, yes, some of them were just variations of other decks, but there's actually a lot of deck building opportunities in pool 1. And it's kind of funny looking back at it, because when I was stuck in pool 1 to begin with the game, I was kind of like, oh, I'm seeing all these cool videos of all these cool decks.
Yeah.
Now going back, I'm like building all these decks. I'm like, man, I didn't play any of these decks because I was like so focused on getting new cards and getting into the higher pools. But definitely some cool deck building opportunities in pool 1. A lot of great cards here.
Yeah, and I've been watching your YouTube videos where you do have some pool 1 decks for the beginners.
Yeah.
But I've been building them, playing like a game or two with them, and then just subbing out like a card or two from a higher pool. And just by doing that, you have like an awesome deck. Like I was saying before, deck building, just by upgrading a couple of cards, you build awesome decks. Definitely the staples are right here in pool 1.
For sure. I definitely agree. All right, let's get into pool 2. Now, pool 2 is a much smaller pool of cards, and I believe this has changed a little bit since the launch of the game. I'm just trying to look. Do you get Hobgoblin in pool 2? Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I think you do. I think that's why I literally just unlocked Green Goblin, and it's been like so long trying to get him. So this is essentially pool 2. I think this might have changed a little bit, but this shows that it goes up to 450. I believe it goes up to 474 now, and there might be a couple more cards that have been added to this, but we'll just go through what we've got here in front of us. Again, you can see these images on our Twitter at Infinite Snap Pod. So we've got I guess none of these are like super meta-defining cards. Maybe Shang-Chi. There's actually quite a strong argument that Shang-Chi is a meta-defining card. What's your thoughts on this pool of cards? It is much smaller than pool 1, but again, you're still guaranteed to unlock all of these cards by level 474 of your collection level. So it's kind of like pool 1 and pool 2. Once you hit 500, you will have all these cards. You can essentially build any pool 1 or pool 2 deck. So Justin, what's your thoughts on this little collection of cards?
Pool 2 cards? I thought there would have been more. It's like
how small is it?
Such a small pool compared to pool 1.
Someone in chat said, Luke said that Killmonger is pool 2. I definitely believe that is correct.
Yeah,
we'll have a look when we look at pool 3. I'll actually bring up my app while you're talking.
Yeah, just looking at these cards, I don't think like pool 2 cards, I guess, are not great. I don't see a lot of them. I do see a few of them: Morbius, Sunspot,
Swarm?
Bucky Barnes, Jubilee, Storm, Shang-Chi, Swarm, Iceman, Infinite, Swarm. Yes,
there's good cards in here.
Actually, there's good cards. It just compared to pool 1, it just seems like pretty lackluster. But it's just because it's a smaller pool of cards. It's definitely an awesome pool. I think one thing that I note is apart from the Infinite, there's no real like big beefy cards.
It's true. I think Vision's like kind of big. I get what you're saying, like not huge cards for sure.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I find this pool of cards to be upgrades for pool 1 decks. So Bucky Barnes for destroy, Vision for move, Swarm for discard. I mean, I guess Okoye and Nakia are just like, they can kind of be in anything.
Yeah.
And then a lot of counter cards. So like Leech, Shang-Chi, Storm can help like lock down locations. Rhino
You're
can
right.
destroy bad
There's
locations.
no like, there's no build around cards.
Yeah, like maybe like Jubilee, like small argument that you build like, but I guess that's even like that's probably a lockjaw deck. Probably nothing you
Yeah.
build around. Yeah, maybe you're right, but definitely like Vulture you can add to a move deck. Sabretooth you can add to a discard deck or destroy deck.
Yeah, so solid upgrade options, I think, in
Yes,
pool 2.
yeah, for sure.
Nothing too crazy, but
Yes.
some nice tech.
I think
Yeah.
they're like tech cards and little additions, but I think of pool 1 and pool 2 as like this is just an upgraded pool 1 in my opinion. Like you're not gonna get a card that all of a sudden you're building this brand new deck where you're gonna like stomp the competition. You're just adding to what you already have, I guess is how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I
Yeah.
agree with you completely.
Any standout cards there? I'm just looking at my pool 2 on Marvel Snap to see if I've got anything different. Any standout cards too? Sandman. So Sandman is in this now.
Yeah, okay.
So that's an interesting one.
Sandman's probably a build around card.
Yeah, definitely.
Standout cards in this pool, to be honest, nothing really stands out for me because they are mostly tech cards, like just something I'd sub into a deck.
Yep. So
but
Killmonger is definitely also in here.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say Swarm is probably my favorite card in this pool, just because in that discard deck, Swarm is the card apart from Apocalypse that will win you games.
Yeah, Luke said, and I think pretty much agreeing with us, not many high power cards in pool 2, but definitely upgrading decks that you already have. So I think it's kind of like, I think of pool 1 as like, here's your main pool of cards that you're going to use in a lot of decks. Pool 2 is, all right, we're adding some, like, adding some mechanics, like we're adding some tech cards to help you combat some, higher power decks. Like Shang-Chi can be really strong against pool 3 decks.
Yeah.
Hobgoblin, same thing. I think there are cards in here to help you compete with better decks. I get like stronger pool 3 decks, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like maybe pool 1, they're like, here are the staples.
Yeah.
The staples for the game. Here's the game. Learn how to play with these cards. They're not too confusing. Just have a go. Make a deck that you like. And then pool 2, they're kind of like introducing you more into the deck building aspect. They're like, hey, now we've got these cards. The deck that you built in pool 1, you should try and make them better with this small pool of cards because you can definitely make that pool 1 deck better with these cards. And then pool 3, they're like, all right, go for your life.
Yeah, I think, and then we get to pool 3, which we're going to go through in a second, which is like, hey, here's all the crazy cards where you're going to do like things that you never dreamed would happen in Marvel Snap.
See how crazy you can go with some combos
pretty
with
much.
These cards.
So pool 1 and pool 2, we think of like these are like your main cards, like still not tutorial, but you're still learning the game at this point. Like I reckon I finished pool 2 probably within like the first few weeks of the game. Would you say?
Yeah, I don't even remember unlocking pool 1 or pool 2
That's what I mean,
cards.
because it was just so quick.
Like ages ago.
That's right.
I think, and you were unlocking them so quick as well. Because how often did you unlock a card straight away?
Yeah, it's not nowhere near as brutal as it is once you get to pool 3.
Was it every 4? Was it every 4 levels?
I just had it open. I'll get into pool 3 while you have a look at that. So this is pool 3. The collection of pool 3 cards. Now, just looking at this, if I'd looked at this maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, when I was in pool 1 and 2, I would have looked at this and been like, what do all these cards do? Now that we're at the point where we are, if you played in the beta, you look at these cards, you probably know what every single one of these cards does. The number, it says this, you unlock these cards from 462 and up. It's now 474, so not too big of a change. But it then goes to question mark. And the reason there's a question mark there is you don't actually know when you unlock all of these cards. And the reason for that is once you get to pool 3, you're actually unlocking collector's caches. Oh, I think till level 1000, you're unlocking something else. I think they're called something else, and you have a better chance of getting cards. But then you get to collector's caches, and you have like, what, a 25% chance of opening a new card
Yeah,
in them.
so the one before collector's case, I
50%.
can't remember what it's called. It's 50%, and then
Yes.
collector's case for 25. I'm
That's
just looking. So pull one cards. You're unlocking. You're guaranteed a new card every 4 collection level,
every
which
4
is
levels.
like nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're just unlocking cards. Basically, almost every time you upgrade a card, you're unlocking a new card.
Correct. Whereas now, once you get to collector's cases, it's every 12 levels, collection levels.
Every 12, you're unlocking a case.
A
yes.
case, sorry.
Yep.
So maybe not even a card. So there is potential.
Yeah.
You potentially could go almost 100 levels without unlocking a new card, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
So basically the reason that people complain about this like unlocking system is a lot of these pool 3 cards, you can build decks around these cards. Some of them are very, very powerful, but you might not unlock one of let's say, for instance, Sarah is a card that I don't have. I'm at collection level 2,500 and something. I might not unlock her till 3,000. And that sounds like a really high number. We've been playing for maybe 4 months, let's say, give or take, since we've had the beta. So we're probably looking at half a year if you play pretty much every day to unlock all the cards in pool 1, 2, and 3. If you're super lucky, you might get them a little bit earlier, or if super unlucky, you might be a little bit later. But yeah, it is a long time, I guess, when compared to other card games, you just open a bunch of packs, spend money, and you have all the cards, which you can't really do in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, it's very different, but I love it. I do really, really like the way that they've done it, as I keep saying.
Yeah, Chatter just trolling about how you can open it and just get a new card, and it's just a really bad pool 3 card. It's just and it can suck because it could be another week, another 2 weeks before you get another new card. So just looking at this, so these are the cards here, guys. These are, if you're listening to the podcast, the audio version, these will be on the Twitter at Infinite Snap Pod. There's some powerful cards here. You're not getting these till a lot later in the game. There's still 6 to 10 cards that you and I don't have here. So there's even cards that I haven't played with. There's cards that you haven't played with yet. So yeah, this is where the game gets it opens up a ton. I'm just looking at some of the cards here, like Patriot. I'm looking at Sarah. I'm looking at Mr. Negative, Destroyer, Death, Magneto, Wong, Mystique, so Dracula.
There's build around cards in pool 3 where you actually just can't build that deck until you unlock that specific card.
Correct.
Such as a card that I don't have that I really want is Destroyer. I can't build a Destroyer deck without Destroyer, and I'm at 2,600 collector level, and I don't have him. It's crazy. Same would go with Patriot or Mr. Negative. They're like cards that you cannot build that specific deck unless you have those cards.
For sure.
But apart from those build around cards, pool 3 is kind of just an extension of pool 2, because I see cards like, I see cards like the Hood. It's like it's a Destroy deck. The Hood belongs in a Destroy deck, and you would just add the Hood into your Destroy deck that you had built previously.
Yeah. People in chat are just laughing at chat. They're like saying, I bet the first one I unlock in pool 3 is like Crystal or like another like low powered card. You're right, and I think the issue. This is where I start to see issues with the pool system, and that's. For, I guess, say you watch a content creator and they have a deck with, I don't know, let's say Arnim Zola, and you go, oh, I want to build that deck. I'm at level 600. You could get, Arnim Zola could be literally the next card you open, or you could get it in 3 months from now. It's just...
It feels bad.
It's just random. So, like, I would watch a video of a cool deck, and I'd be like, oh, Destroyer, like someone we know got Destroyer like as their first or second pool 3 card. So they've been playing a Destroyer deck for months. I literally had never touched a Destroyer deck because I didn't have the card. You were just discussing like a Kingpin deck with Magneto. I don't have Magneto, so I would be playing a worse version of your Kingpin deck basically. Magic, like when I unlocked Magic, it opened so many possibilities. This was pre-nerfed Magic, when you could play Magic on turn 6, which would add a turn 7 to the game, which was super broken. But just looking back now, a lot of these cards were like staples in specific decks, And until I unlocked them, I almost had no reason to try out those decks. And I think that's where it can kind of hurt people, in that you could like listen to the podcast and we talk about, so like after this, we're going to talk about pool 1, pool 2, and pool 3 decks to hit infinite. And the reason we're going to go through a deck from each pool is so if you are in pool 1, you're not going to feel left out, that we're talking about a deck that you're never going to be able to play for months, you know? Whereas, like, you might look at the cool pool 3 deck and you're missing like 5 cards from pool 3. You just, this is where I think there's a slight issue. Sorry, I'm just looking at the cards. Wave, I literally still do not have Wave. There's so many decks I want to play with Wave and I can't.
Yeah, Wave is a good card.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
It's also just the way that things are right now. It kind of encourages you to deck build or like mess around with decks, which I don't mind, because you see, I watch this cool as top meta deck video, and it has Mr. Negative, which I have, and it has some other cards which I don't have. Like until recently, I hadn't unlocked Psylocke or Sarah, right? So I was still playing a Mr. Negative deck based on this person's deck, but I had to find other options
for sure
because of cards that I didn't have. And you know what, the deck still worked. You can't obviously always do it like a destroyer deck. I can't build a destroyer deck if I don't have destroyer. But there are decks where you can kind of swap and change, and the deck still works. And it may be better, it may be worse, it may work the same. But I like that they encourage deck building.
So I think that is the aim. They want you to deck build. They don't want to just give you all the cards, you play all the top meta decks, and then you're done with it. They want you to deck build and try new things, which I think is great. That's definitely a good thing for a card game. I fall off a little bit when I think of, like if you're especially if you're like new to card games and you see this awesome deck and you're like, I can't wait to play it. Realizing that you might have to wait 6 months to actually even have the opportunity to play it, it could be a little bit off-putting. Obviously, for us, we just stuck through it and we just kept playing the game, had a ton of fun, still having fun with it. And yes, to be honest, I guess the one thing we haven't spoken about is the dopamine hit when you unlock that brand new card that you've been waiting to get. It is a pretty massive dopamine hit. You get, like, when I opened Destroyer, I'm like, we're on here. I'm so excited. Or let's say, I unlocked Ultron and I'd seen this Ultron deck floating around, but I needed Patriot and I was missing Patriot, and he was like the key to the deck, and I'm like, big sad. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, I unlocked Patriot and I went absolutely nuts. I guess there is that side of it. What's your thoughts on the getting the card you've been waiting for?
Unlocking a card feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. And like, even if it's not the card that you wanted, unlocking a card feels good in general, apart from a handful of cards. I gotta say, there are a handful of cards, when I unlock them, I'm like amazed. Like, the only good thing about unlocking this card is not unlocking it in the future.
Okay,
getting it out of the pool.
All right, let's say you haven't got a build around card for like a month, and like you've just been getting all these crappy cards, and then you unlock Wasp. What's your reaction?
Feels bad, but hey, Wasp can go into my Lockjaw deck.
That's true.
My Patriot deck, so it's a good addition.
Yeah, so I think you're right in that it is exciting opening a card. I guess when you just give someone access to all the cards, you lose that dopamine hit. I know from playing Hearthstone, opening packs in Hearthstone is a chore. It is the worst thing in the world. There's no open all, so you got to sit there and open your 100 packs of cards. I don't know why they think it's exciting, because it's not. It's really boring, because I just want the cards to play. Whereas with this, I guess you actually don't know if you're getting a card in your cache or not. So it's not like I get a card. Like if we just got a new card every collector's cache, you'd be like, cool, I get a new card. I'm going to have them all soon. So yeah, I think there's both sides. There's going to be people who have been playing card games. They love playing the meta decks, and they're going to be like, I have to wait like 6 months to have all these cards. But then for casual players, I think it's great, because they're not worried about, I have to play the meta decks. Like, I need all these cards to play the meta decks. They're just playing the game, unlocking cards, having fun. And I guess, when you open a new card like, I don't know, Patriot or Hela or Sarah, like these build around cards, it's pretty exciting, I must admit.
It is exciting. Like, unlocking Patriot unlocked like I don't know how many hours I can associate with a certain deck, but unlocked basically this whole season from level 50 to infinite, or level 60 to infinite for me. So
Yep.
unlocking that one card brought so many hours of fun and progression
Yeah,
to my game.
it's true.
So
It's
like
true.
it's such a good feeling unlocking those cards. Even Hela, like a build around deck, unlocking
Yeah,
Hela. I played Hela so much just because I unlocked her. Like
yeah,
it felt great. So it does feel good. Even honestly, even when I unlock a bad card or a card that I don't want,
yep.
I don't think like, oh man, I wish I unlocked another card. I kind of think of it more as, okay, I unlocked that card, so now it's not going to show up when I unlock another card.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
like
guess so.
it's out of the pool of cards that I need to unlock, so I
Yeah,
have a better chance of getting the card that I do want.
it's
I'm
true.
probably a bit of an optimist,
It is
but
pretty
yeah,
optimistic. Urko
yeah,
said in chat, I jumped when I unlocked Mystique. And I guess, yeah, that is the feeling you get when you get the card you've been waiting for.
yeah,
To note, so yeah, guys, if this pool 3, if you're new to the game, you're probably like, you're almost at pool 3, or you're going to get there eventually. There is a lot of powerful cards in there. There's a lot of RNG cards here. Like just looking at Hela. Hela is just like flip a coin, see what happens.
yeah.
What else? Like Magic can go one of two ways. Like getting that turn 7 can be great for you, but it could really hurt you as well. Lockjaw's just flip a coin again. So yeah, it does open. I think it opens a lot of deck building options, of course. So, and I guess, yeah, to be honest, when I got into pool 3 and started getting cards, it was like crazy fun. I guess now that
Yeah.
I'm getting towards the end, I'm kind of like, I just want these last 5 cards so I can build some new decks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know about the cards that you still have to unlock,
Oh,
but
dude, it's so bad.
I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I know what cards I need to unlock, and none of them are like bad. I've already unlocked like the bad cards, so now when I unlock one, I'm like, all right, I'm keen.
No,
I'm keen for it.
mine's the same. I think the only card that I'm not looking forward to is maybe like, I think Yellow Jacket.
Oh yeah.
I think other than that, I'm waiting for like Red Skull, Magneto, Spider-Man, Sarah. I think, yeah.
you got some good
I've
cards
got some
there.
absolute banging cards that I'm going to be unlocking. Agatha, I haven't. Even Agatha, I just want to play like troll Agatha decks.
Yeah.
Wave. I've actually got some amazing cards coming, so I'm getting hyped again.
Mine's probably more like a Mysterio,
Oh yeah.
Mysterio, Quake, which is like Gambit, which I'm really keen to unlock.
man.
Ghost Rider,
See-
I'm really keen to
And
unlock.
see, it's funny having this conversation because I've had Gambit from so early on. I reckon under level 1,000, I had Gambit. So like, I've been doing
That's
Gambit.
insane.
I've been doing Wong Gambit shenanigans, Mystique shenanigans since like 1,200. So to me, that's old news. But to you,
Yeah, see,
that's
I'm
brand
so
new.
excited to
Yeah.
unlock Gambit so I can play with Gambit because it adds like a whole new aspect to my discard deck, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even I don't know Agatha either or Destroyer, so I'm pretty keen to unlock those last 5 or 6 cards.
It is pretty exciting. I'm getting a bit hyped again. So Luke in chat said, like you feel forced to stick with the pool 2 decks or certain archetypes until you unlock all the pool 3 cards. Sort of. I feel like yes and no. Like obviously, as soon as you unlock specific cards, it opens up the deck. So because Patriot just relies on a bunch of like cards that you get in pool 1 pretty much. Like, but Patriot makes them all of a sudden good cards where it buffs all the cards with no abilities, and you get a ton of those early in the game, and you think, what the heck are these cards for? They're terrible. When you unlock Patriot, it all makes sense. So I think, yeah, like as you go through pool 3, you unlock a new card and all of a sudden a new archetype becomes available to you. And then you unlock some cards that don't really do much and they're kind of just filler and you might put them in a deck here and there. So I think it's like, yeah, you don't need to unlock all of them, but I guess, yeah, once you have unlocked all of them, you can build everything, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
100%. I don't think that you have to unlock all of the pool 3 cards in this,
yes.
specific deck that you want to build to actually start playing those cards.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
As soon as I unlock a cool card, I will just, doesn't matter if it's not the best deck to play it in, I will just try it out because it's fun.
And I think you're right. I was playing discard way before I had Gambit and Wong and Mystique, and the deck worked great. Once I unlocked these cards, sure, it got better, but it wasn't bad to begin with. So that's right. It really just depends. But guys, that's pool 3. I hope you are looking forward to getting your hands on Pool 3 cards if you're not in Pool 3 yet. It's, yeah, chat finally said Patriot gave Cyclops a reason to live. And that's right, guys.
Definitely.
Fully cracked with Patriot. Cool. So let's get into our next topic, guys. I hope we explain the pools a little bit and that they make a bit more sense to you guys, because it's probably the biggest question I've been asked in the last 2 weeks. So, snapping and retreating. Guys, sorry if I sound a bit funny, but my asthma has gone like really ridiculous this week. It's gotten so bad out of nowhere. So, snapping and retreating. It's been 2 weeks since global launch, and people are starting to, like, I guess, learn the game. They're probably starting to try and rank up, probably trying to get to infinite. Justin, what's your thoughts on the snapping mechanic and snapping? Do you have any tips on when to snap, when not to snap? And then I guess as a extension of that, if someone snaps, when should you think about retreating?
Yeah, so a lot of the advice that I see and that I kind of was told early on is, if you by turn 3 or 4, you should know where this game is going based on your deck and your opponent's deck, and you should either be snapping or retreating. I don't necessarily live by that rule. What I kind of do is, I think I had this tip maybe last week or a couple of weeks ago, is know your deck. Obviously, snapping and retreating comes with experience, definitely. I think you definitely have to know your deck, because if I play my discard deck, if I've discarded Apocalypse and Swarm a couple of times or whatever, I know that it's paying off. So
yes.
my plan is working, so I will snap. And that's just because I know my deck. I know what cards are left in my deck.
Yep.
I know what I need to win. And also you kind of really have to play the game to know what other people are playing.
Yeah.
So, as soon as I see a specific card come up, based on my time playing, I can have a guess at what the opponent is playing.
Yeah.
And that's important as well, definitely, for snapping and retreating. I do love the snap mechanic. It's awesome.
Yep.
It's very, very different, something we haven't seen before. But yeah, my advice is just, for beginners, play the game, and maybe I think we've spoken about this in an earlier podcast, but maybe just don't retreat early on if you don't know what's going to happen. Make the mistakes early on. Don't worry about your first season. You may not hit infinite anyway. Because it's a massive grind. So just see where games go and have a look at how your deck basically how your deck ends up at the end of the game, because sometimes you may retreat and you would have won if you stuck with it.
Yes.
But yeah, I can snap sometimes on turn 6. It just really depends. I don't really snap by turn 3 or turn 4.
I think what you said about if you've just started playing the game, just play out your games. We did speak about this at some point on a podcast. So if it's your first month of playing, you're not going to know all the decks. You're not going to know all the cards. So it's fine to play out games even if you think you're going to lose. Mainly because if you're just retreating on turn 5, turn 6, because you're it looks like I'm going to lose, you're not actually going to learn if you were going to lose. Like you said, you actually just need to make the mistakes to know not to make them again. And it goes back to that whole thing. You've probably heard it. Everyone's heard it a million times. You mistakes are just learning. If I make a mistake and I didn't know they were going to play, I didn't know they were going to play Iron Man to finish the game, or I've never seen that card. I remember the first time a Magneto got played against me, I honestly thought there was no way I could lose. I'm I literally cannot lose this game. My opponent played Magneto, never seen the card before, and I lost. And I was like, damn. And I wrote down Magneto in my notes. And so I in my next probably 20 games, my thought was, could they play a Magneto here? And if they do I lose? And it's that thing of, once you've made the mistake, you now know what could happen and you know not to make that mistake again. So if I get to turn 6 and I go, Magneto, if they play Magneto, I lose here. And I think it's a deck that they would be playing Magneto, I will retreat. But I couldn't have known that without the loss that I had to a Magneto. So I think you're right. If it's your first week, don't like. Obviously, you want to be playing smart. Like if they've got 30 power at every location and you've got like 5 at one location, then retreat. Like there's obviously zero chance of you winning. But don't be worried about, oh, I'm going to lose my 4 cubes or I'm going to lose my 8 cubes. If you're just retreating every game, you're never going to rank up anyway. You're not going to know when to play out the game. So I think for your first month, just have fun. Don't worry too much about your rank, like you said. And then by your second season, your second month of playing, you're going to know most of the cards. You're going to know a lot of the decks. And you're going to look at turn 6 and go, wow, I don't think I can lose here. And you think of all the cards that you've lost to in the past. And you go, snap, I'm going to win this. And I guess you get to a point where you just like, it's very rare where you're going to snap, and it's very rare you're going to lose because you know pretty much the only thing. Like you might know, okay, if they play this card, I lose. Is it possible they have that card? Very unlikely. Okay, we're going to play this out. Every now and then they're going to have that card. It's going to sting you. But I definitely think you just want to learn the game for your first month. Don't be too worried about losing games. It's the only way you learn. I mean, it just applies to everything in life, really.
Yeah, I think also just the one rule that I probably did abide by maybe before hitting pool 3 is, I don't know, maybe the meta's changed a little bit, but America Chavez was like played in every deck,
Yeah.
I reckon, or like most decks when I was in pool 1 and 2. And something, when I did start grinding out the ranks, something that I did know is that if I can lose here by my opponent playing a Chavez on turn 6, then just retreat, because like more than likely they're going to have it.
That's a good tip.
That's probably a tip that I would give the beginners that are starting to grind. Like we said, don't worry about it too much when you first start. But if you are trying to grind out to infinite, then yeah, if you're going to lose to a Chavez, then just think about retreating, and definitely don't snap back if they snap.
That's a good one. I actually like that. If they could just play a 9 power card at one location and that wins them the game, you're probably going to lose. Like
you're probably going to lose.
You're probably like if they need to play, 3 cards. Like if you're winning all the locations and you think like, oh, they need to play like 8 power here, 6 power there, and like 10 power there. It's like, well, what cards can do that? Not a lot, especially if you're in pool 1 and 2. I definitely agree with you there. I feel like early on there was a lot of games where I'm like, oh, this is like I would think they're a 50-50, but then I'd think about it later and be like, all they needed to do was play like a 5 power card at this location. And I already had 4 cards there. It was impossible for me to win pretty much. But like I was thinking of them as 50-50s because I'm like, well, if they don't play a card there, I win. But then looking back at it, I'm like, but that's the only logical thing they could do. Like there was no other like option for them for the win. They just do that and they win. So I was kind of just hoping on people making mistakes. Whereas if they make that mistake once out of every 10 games, I'm losing 9 games,
Yeah, that's right.
You definitely want to be in a position where you think like there's nothing you can think in your mind with how much energy they have, 6 energy, that could win them that game. Just quickly before you say something, Luke said in the chat, they're realizing now that snapping and retreating is so much more important than just winning every game. And that's very true. Like we've spoken about it so many times. A lot of these episodes were before global launch, so I'm glad we're rehashing it. But if you retreat for 1 cube, 3 games in a row, you've lost 3 cubes, you're like, oh, this sucks. And then you win 8 cubes and you get to turn 6 and you're like, I literally can't lose this. I'm thinking of all the cards in pool 1, pool 2. There's nothing they could play. You win those 8 cubes. You're now +5 in like the 4 games you played. What are the games? 3 minutes? That's 10 minutes. You've gone up 5 ranks, like 5 rank points. I mean, that's great. Yeah. That's like, that's good. And I mean, that's not always happening, but if you're just like getting to 8 cube games, you look at it, you're like, oh, but there's a 2% chance I might win this. I'm just going to do it. You're just going to go down and down. If you flip that thinking and go, all right, every time there's a 90% chance I'm going to win, I go to 8 cubes. It's just like you just go up really, really fast. It's all about the snap. It's all about the cube mechanic, really.
Yeah, and I think like another tip that I would have with snapping and retreating is like pay attention. And this comes from experience, where like I would play against a discard deck and I can see what they're discarding. Like,
I already know.
I know that they have a 20 power apocalypse, or I know that they have like 3 swarms in hand. And then I'm thinking, and then I play out the game, Like, I should just retreat if I know that I know they have a 20 power apocalypse and 3 swarms. I know that they can win
29
the
power,
game
yeah.
with that in their hand. So why am I playing out the game? And that also doesn't just go for discard. It also goes for, like, when I was playing a Devil Dino deck and I was playing White Queen,
Yep.
right? I was playing White Queen. In my head, anyway, I was playing White Queen just to get an extra card to give to Devil Dino, but that's not the only reason why you play White Queen. You should be playing White Queen so you know what the highest card in their hand is. And if they can win with that card, then don't play out the game.
Yeah,
like, just don't do it. Like, information is everything.
That's really great advice. I even think of that location where you swap hands on turn 6, so it's kind of like, I know exactly what's in their hand. They know exactly what's in my hand, except the one card we drew. I would look at that hand and go, I just gave him an onslaught. He just wins by playing that. Or vice versa. I look at my hand and go, I know exactly what's in his hand. Unless that one card he drew, and it's probably not a 6 cost because I've got all these 6 cost cards in my hand. Like, I know there's no way I can lose, basically. And I think you're right. There's so many times I've been sitting on the couch, not paying attention, watching TV. They've just discarded like 3 cards, and I look at my phone and I tap on their thing and see, oh, discarded 3. Oh, what did they discard? And all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, were they swarms?
You don't
Were they
know.
apocalypses? Were they like, did he discard like a good card? Did he discard all his lady sifts and everything and he's got nothing good now? And so then all of a sudden I was like, I actually have no idea if I'm in a winning position or losing position. So I know it's a mobile game, but if you want to go rank up, you actually need to focus. And this is coming from someone who has done the opposite so many times and then been angry and tilted because, oh, why did I lose 2 ranks today? And then I'm like, because I was watching TV while trying to play, while trying to like cook dinner and like, do like 5 things at once. Yes, it is a mobile game, but treat it like any other game where you put your focus into it if you want to rank up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think Wes in the chat just said we need discard info.
100%.
We need discard info.
I feel
it's so easy to do as well. Like, they just need to do it. They just need to bring it to the game.
We just need to get, like, I think of Hearthstone and there's like a little log of what's happened. We actually need that because there's so many games where I'm just like, oh no, this is now a coin flip. Like, they could 100% know they can't lose, and I actually don't know because I wasn't paying attention. I definitely. That's good, guys. Second dinner, if you're listening. If we just had like a log of what's happened in the game, that'd be great. Thanks. Even if it's like a button, even if I have to like go into the menu, like tap like their thing and tap log, that'd be fantastic. That's quite funny. Yeah, Wes said been beating that drum for months. Yes. Okay. So snapping and retreating. If you're a new player, don't get super hung up on it. I know I kind of did initially. I was like, oh, I just want to rank up. I forgot about it, just kept playing for my first month, didn't hit infinite, didn't even get close. And then the next month I went from 30 to infinite. Like, I went up. But to be fair, I played a ton, but I was finally at the point where I felt I knew all the decks and I'd lost enough games and written down even a simple tip as write down the card you lost to. So like, I would write down Magneto. I didn't know what it did. I looked it up, read what it did, wrote down what it did. And so then when I was in a position like that, like I said earlier, like, oh, well, if they have this card, I lose. Or like, if you look at that list and go, if they have any of these 10 cards, I lose, you now know, like, well, they probably have one of those cards. If they haven't played any 5 or 6 cost cards, I probably just lose. So it really is all about information. But you just got to learn the game. I mean, if you're just retreating all the time and never playing games out, you're not actually going to know what you lose to and what you beat. So yeah, definitely it is. It's one of those things. It's like, we want you to retreat and do everything properly to rank up fast. But if you don't actually know the cards that can beat you, you can't know that. Yeah, it's pretty hard to give advice on it, isn't it?
You need to fail and win, fail hard
to win.
To then learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, literally learn from your mistakes. You have to lose to then win. And I think that's fine. I think I hit like 50 or 60 rank maybe in my first month or 2. And then started at like 30 and I just went all the way to infinite. To be fair, you do need to play the game a bit. Like, you can't just play for half an hour a day and expect to hit it. But you want to be playing smart. You don't want to be playing for 10 hours a day and just not moving rank at all. I feel like I try to go, like, if I'm trying to push my rank, I might go, all right, let's try and go up 2 ranks a day. Or if I'm playing a lot that day, 5 ranks today. And I'm not going to get tilted if I don't hit it. Like it's not like I have to hit it. Like I'm not sleeping until I hit it because you'll just tilt. But like just having little like small goals, like, oh, I'm gonna go up 1 rank today. I'm gonna go up 3 ranks today if I've got, 8 hours to play. I'm gonna go up 5 ranks today. That can give you a little goal, I guess, that can help. But on that, and this is I actually posted a video about this. Don't chase your losses. This is super easy. Yeah, I'm looking at your face because everyone does it.
I was gonna say I have tried to set a goal for like the night or afternoon or whatever, and it does not work for me because if I start going down, then I'm like, oh, just snap because if I get these 8 cubes, then I do reach my goal, and then I get the snap for 8 cubes, and then I just lose, and then I'm worse off than I was when I started playing.
I think it's a hard one. Like people in chat are saying they like to set goals, and then there's other people that say like that like maybe goals. It's hard. I like goals because it's like here is what you need to get. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, okay, I'm trying to get to infinite. I need to go up 50 ranks. And like, I go up 1 rank a day and then all of a sudden I've got like a week and I'm like, oh, I got to go up 40 ranks. Whoops. So it's one of
just about what works for you.
I definitely agree. I think going up like, I like setting goals, but don't make them hard goals. Like I'll get to the end of the day and go, oh, I only went up 2 ranks, not my 5. Oh, should I just like snap 8 cubes every game until I get there? No, because I'm going to drop 10 ranks. Definitely don't chase your losses. If you lose a really close 8 cube game, if you're tilting, just put the game down for like an hour or even a day if you have to. Don't tilt because it's like the quickest way to just lose rank. There's been days where I've gone up 5 ranks and I'm like, man, I'm killing it. And then I've lost 5 ranks by the end of the day because I just started chasing. Like I lost 1 bad game. I'm like, oh, I'm now down to 64. I need to get back to 65. And then I'm at like 55. Don't chase your losses, guys. Chat, I'm loving the discussion in chat, guys. Really appreciate you guys being here for the live podcast. We're going to move on from snapping and retreating, but it'll definitely come up again in a future episode. And thanks to the comments on our on the podcast about strategies and things like that. We're definitely going to talk more about that. But this is the fun thing that I wanted to do today. We're going to go through a infinite deck, or I guess a deck that's reached infinite this season for Pool 1, Pool 2, and Pool 3. Little self-plug here, but the Pool 3 deck that Marvel Snap Zone used for this article just so happened to be my deck. So thanks for that, Marvel Snap Zone.
Congrats on that.
It's like
That's pretty cool.
It's like not even it's not even like a plug. It's like I just made it part of the content, and it just so happened to be my deck.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty cool. I found out. Someone tweeted at me. Donald Bump tweeted at me and was like, oh, your deck got featured. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I opened the article and I'm like, what's going on? And then I got to the end of the article and realized, I'm like, oh, cool. And Den actually wrote that article. So thanks, Den, for using my deck. Appreciate it. Yeah, Wes. Whoop.
It was a good deck.
It's fun. It's not even like optimized because I'm missing cards for it, but we'll go through them. We'll start with the Pool 1 deck. So I will have the link to all these decks on the Twitter account, so at Infinite Snap Pod, if you want to check out any of these, especially if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast. Now I've set up a nice cool overlay for the deck. Oh no, we lose Jizzy when I open this. Oh no.
Wow. Sucks for me.
No, I think I can fix it. That's so funny. I knew this wouldn't work.
It's okay. It's a small price to pay.
It's a small price to pay. No, I can bring it up. I'm confident that I can do this. I just forgot about you, I was just like, don't worry about him. No, I think I can actually fix this.
I'll sacrifice myself for the Patriot deck.
Oh, why is this actually not coming up? Oh, that's so annoying. That's all right. I know how to fix it. 3, 2, 1. Did I fix it? Boom, look at that. Quick edit. Okay, so this is sorry about that, guys. This is the Pool 1. This is a Pool 1 Infinite deck from Snada. Guys, if you want to check out any of these people, they will be in the article. So this deck is just using Pool 1 cards. I mean, it's a pretty standard Pool 1 deck. Justin, do you want to just go? We'll go through pretty briefly, but you want to go through the main cards of the deck?
Yeah, so it seems like a Kazoo deck, basically.
Yep.
You have a bunch of 1-cost cards and Kazaa, which gives +1 power to all your 1-cost cards. So you have a total of 2, 4, 6 1-cost cards. So Kazar's putting in some work there. Ant-Man has an ongoing ability to buff himself. Electro will destroy an opposing one cost card. Squirrel Girl, Nightcrawler, just getting like some extra one costs on the board, and Nightcrawler will give you versatility to move stuff around later on. Rocket Raccoon and Blade. Blade, what will Blade discard? I'm just trying to think.
I think
Does
it's
Blade
just
help you in any way?
No, I think it's just because it's a 3 power card for 1 cost. Like it's just
it is pretty
power.
strong. Angela is awesome. See her in almost any deck.
Pool 1
Angela
deck
can
pretty
be.
much, yeah.
Yeah, Sentinel, he'll give you the opportunity to keep playing. Well, so Sentinel, you play Sentinel and you get a copy of Sentinel in your hand. You can just keep playing him, which is awesome. Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane is in a lot of pool 1 decks as well. Pretty versatile, especially since you have 1 cost cards in this deck. Wolfsbane will buff themselves for the amount of cards that you have at that location.
So it's like plus you can get it to 7 without any shenanigans.
You can get it to 7. Kazar, awesome. Like I said before, he'll just buff all those 1 cost cards.
Yep.
And Squirrel Girl will create squirrels, which will also buff. Blue Marvel just buffs everything by 1, and Chavez for 6 cost, 9 power. Chavez is awesome. You'll probably see her also in almost every pool 1 deck. Also, just for the deck thinning, like in this deck, you definitely want to get Kazar out. So yeah, having Chavez out of the pool that you can draw cards from is beneficial, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Is there?
It's a good deck.
I think this is great for a pool 1 deck. I mean, it hit Infinite. I'm assuming they're in pool 1, pool 2 at the moment, so they're not coming up against any crazy pool 3 cards. I'm assuming, but it's pretty solid deck. It's pretty straightforward. You don't really have to there's nothing crazy happening. You're playing Angela, you're playing your 1 cost cards, you can move Nightcrawler to play more at Angela. Ant-Man, you're generally going to fill up a location. Wolfsbane, you're just playing Sentinels, just adding cards to your hand for more options to play cards if you run out. Kazar buffing all the 1 cost, tons of them. Blue Marvel buffing everything, and then Chavez, like you said, it thins your deck. Make sure you're drawing all your other cards, and then you draw Chavez on turn 6. And it's a pretty decent card to play on turn 6 looking at this deck.
It's a pretty good game plan. And you know that Kazar and Blue Marvel are essentials in this deck.
Yes.
And probably if you don't draw at least one of them, you probably know that you should probably be retreating.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
So it's a fairly easy game plan. You know, if I don't have these cards, I'm probably not going to get the required power to win.
Yep. And I guess obviously you do that on a case by case basis. If your opponent has some really bad turns, you might be able to win. But I think you're right. If you don't get at least Kazar or Blue Marvel, you're not really getting any major buffs to your cards. So yeah, it is going to be a pretty lackluster board. I like the deck. I think it's great. Congrats on hitting Infinite with this deck. I mean, any changes you'd make? Maybe Blade, maybe a different 1 cost card.
I'm just looking at it. Even in the chat, Luke's saying Blade seems risky. It's definitely risky. I would be Blade is okay, I think, because you can play Blade turn 5 or turn 6 if you need to, just for the extra stats. But I would not, if I had Kazar and Blue Marvel in hand, I would not be playing Blade. So I don't know. I think Blade can be subbed out if need be.
I think you're right, but we've had this conversation about the discard deck many times. If you discard the wrong thing, you just retreat.
That's true.
If you play Blade turn 1 and it just hits, let's say it hits Electra, you're probably that's fine. If it hits your Kazar or Blue Marvel, okay, it's kind of bad. But if you retreat at 1 cube, it's not the end of the world. So I know it's only 1 extra power. So if you're playing another 1 cost, it's probably a 2 power card. So I guess it's not that I think it's very easy to substitute. And I think I think if you wanted to substitute Blade, that'd be.
I feel
wouldn't change the deck at all.
Sub in a bishop. Just because you got so many 1 cost cards, you could sub in a bishop or something.
Yeah, you could put a bishop in there.
Then again, from turn 3, the ideal card to play is
Kazar, Blue Marvel,
Chavez, which is just 3.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Maybe no bishop, but just another 1 cost card. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Potentially. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So that is a pool 1 deck. So if you're looking for a pool 1 deck, again, all the links to these decks will be on the Infinite Snap Pod on Twitter. So those will all get posted after the podcast. Well, if you're listening audio, they'll already be there. So go and check them out. You'll be able to copy and paste the deck straight into your Marvel Snap game. So this is the pool 2 deck. So we've got some other cards. I like that it's a completely different deck. This is, I guess, what you'd call an ongoing deck. The old Devil Dinosaur Moon Girl combo. Justin, why don't you run us through the deck?
Devil Dino is probably one of the best cards for a pool 1 or pool 2 deck, or the best like build around card. I definitely used it. Heaps of other people definitely used it. I'm glad to see that it's still seeing play even after a couple of nerfs.
Yeah.
Basically, Cable and Sentinel and Moon Girl and White Queen get extra cards in your hand to buff Devil Dino.
Yep.
Scarlet Witch is helping with an unfavorable location that's on the board. It's always good. Lizard is strange to be in there. I don't know why. I guess I don't know why Lizard's in there. I haven't really seen Lizard being played. It's just stats, I guess.
It's stats. I mean, if they don't fill up the location, you just probably win it.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic is awesome. You're just getting 2 power across the board. Morph, I have a bone to pick with.
How many
Morph.
arguments have we had about Morph?
I just hate Morph. Like, there's got to be a better card that you can put in this deck other than Morph. Because what are you trying to get? Like, what? I know you're trying to get high stats, but like,
I love Morph, and the reason I love Morph, I know you don't. I love Morph because it's RNG. And I say bring on the more RNG, the better. People that have been playing card games for a long time hate how the location system works because there's just so much RNG. Whereas I'm like the opposite. I'm like, these games are 3 minutes. If I get bad RNG, I can just back out on to the next game. This was like a 40-minute match. Sure, RNG, I'd be so angry because I've wasted 40 minutes of my time. But the nature of the game, RNG just does not bother me. Like, just whatever. In my opinion, Morph can become a 20 power Infinite by accident, or it can become like a 3-cost Iron Man. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's good. It's not a good. Yeah, I'm saying how fun the card is. Don't misquote me. I'm not saying that it's an amazing broken card or anything. I just think it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
You hate it. It's fine. You hate it because it is RNG and you could just auto lose by playing Morph.
But it's not just RNG. It's
3 cost.
It's bad RNG.
Yeah. What if you play Morph and you get a 2 power 1 cost card and you just spent 3 energy on it? I get your point.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's fine. I think there's arguments both ways because you can literally get any card from the game.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So anyway, that's fine. Killmonger is good because you play no 1-cost cards.
Yep.
And
that's true.
Kazoo's probably like a good deck, pool 1 or pool 2. So I guess that kind of counters that.
Yep.
Moon Girl duplicates your hand, but I think we've said it before. Just remember that your hand cap size is 7.
Yep.
So, and that'll duplicate left to right.
Yep. So if you've got 4 cards in hand, it'll duplicate the first 3, and then the 4th one won't get duplicated because your hand will be full. Yep.
Yeah. And White Queen, like I was saying before, actually, with Cable and White Queen, information. Information is everything in this game.
Yeah.
You will see those cards will give you information from your opponent's hand or deck. So make sure you use that info.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not just about the cards, like you said. Sometimes it's going to be a card that you might not play. It might be not beneficial to your deck, but if it tells you what's in their hand with like White Queen or Cable, like you now know they don't have access to that card because Cable takes the card, doesn't it? It's not a copy, is it?
Yeah, Cable actually takes the bottom card of their deck or something.
If you draw like a Devil Dinosaur, you now know they don't have access to it. So that's pretty. It's a lot of info.
It is a lot of info, and even for White Queen, like just a quick example, you could get a copy of Infinite. Yeah, have Infinite in the hand. You get a copy of Infinite. Turn 5, they don't play anything. You know that they're playing that.
Yeah, 100%.
So that will like guarantee you a win or a loss. So you just snap or retreat based on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Iron Man and Devil Dino, awesome cards.
Sweet.
And Chavez again for
in
probably that consistency. But also it's like an Iron Man and a Chavez gets you 18 power, which is like pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a good deck. It's a good deck. I like it.
So Urko in chat said also Mantis and Yondu are similar for information. On that, I will say
Yeah.
Mantis, if Mantis works, yes, it's information. Yondu, on the other hand, and we've discussed this before, we spoke about why Baron Mordo, he got a massive buff, and I still said the card was absolute garbage, and I'm correct in saying it because nobody plays the card anymore. I'm right.
I'll give you that.
They play
Yeah, I'll
people.
give you that.
I gave my explanation as to why it was bad, and it's the same thing with Yondu. The problem is with Yondu is when it works, it's great, but the way the mechanics of the game are, if you hit, like you're hitting just a random card, yeah. If you hit the good card, it's like great, yeah. But when they don't draw the card, they just retreat. Whereas, like if you hit a 1-cost card, you've done nothing. You've thinned their deck. You've basically, like, if you hit that 1-cost card, you're actually helping them to be more likely to draw the card that they need for turn 5 and 6. So yes, Mantis, sure. Yondu, I think, is not a great card. You will see it a lot in pool 1 decks only because you don't have a lot of other options, and sometimes it can like just kill their 6-cost card that they need. But most of the time, you're actually just thinning the deck and helping them. So that's my little rant on Yondu.
Yeah, the thing, like, I want to disagree with you.
You can't.
Because a lot of decks use Yondu, but
It's
like,
wrong.
you are right. You are right.
Like
Yondu,
why do we play Chavez? We play Chavez to thin our deck, to draw the cards that we need. If you're helping them do that with Yondu, like you're actually helping them to be more likely to draw the card they need.
Yeah.
It's bad. But I can see where people fall into thinking it's a really decent card because, like, if you hit that Iron Man or that Devil Dinosaur, it's like full cracked. You're like, oh, they lost the card. Yay, I win. But if they're just retreating for 1 cube, it's like, oh, well, great, I won 1 cube. Whereas, yeah,
I know what you mean. Yondu can seem good because it can discard a good card and get you the win. But on the other hand, it most likely, if it is hitting a good card for you, you are only going to get that 1 cube because they can just retreat. So
we can have we'll have the Yondu. I'm just looking at chat, and I feel like there's people that disagree with me. I will have this argument with you guys at a later date. Maybe we'll do it like I have this conversation with so many people. I'll post a deck list with Yondu, and they'll be like, Yondu's bad, right? I'm like, yes. Like they'll just like full roast me for playing Yondu. I'm like, I understand like card game mechanics enough to know that Yondu is not a great card, but it's a pool 1 deck. Like I'm just giving people options, things to play. Like it's not get to infinite with this deck. I think Yondu's kind of awful. Another discussion. We'll talk about that another time.
Leave it at that.
Because I could talk about it for like half hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Wes says might be worth it in Deathwave. We'll discuss it another time. Cool. So that's our pool 2 deck. Justin, do you want to discuss the Moon Girl combo with this deck? Why you would play Moon Girl?
Why you would play Moon Girl
like
is
with Dino and Iron Man.
Yeah. So the most obvious one is just to get more cards in your hand, so Devil Dino will get a bigger buff.
Yes, for sure.
But secondly, if you can duplicate Iron Man or Devil Dino, then you can play them twice.
Yeah,
you play one on turn 5 and then one on turn 6.
So you could have potentially like 6 cards in hand on turn 6 and have 2 Devil Dinos, which is pretty big. It's like what?
Pretty insane.
That's like what, 12 power plus 3, so 15 power cards.
Yeah.
On turn 5 and it's great.
It's really good.
Really strong for pool 2 in my opinion, and probably one of the strongest. Like Devil Dinosaur is one of the stronger cards that you get early on for sure. Cool. And finally, we'll go through pool 3. This is the deck that they featured. This is my deck, and they did chat. We're asking. Hopefully, you got a shout out. They did shout out everyone's Twitter when we posted the deck. I also shouted out Ridiculous Hat because he gave me the idea with a tweet for Rogue and for. What was the other one? It was definitely for Rogue and Invisible Woman. So I was playing without Invisible Woman for a while. Invisible Woman was absolutely cracked because it was Invisible Woman, Patriot, let's say Mystique or Blue Marvel or Kazar, and then Ultron is your 6th card. And then it would swarm the board with like 5 power, 6 power, sometimes 7 power, 1-cost cards. And so sometimes I actually wouldn't play cards anywhere else. I just play these hidden cards, and my opponent's probably like, what are they doing? Like, it must be a hella deck. They'd be super confident, snap to 8 cubes, and I'm just sitting there laughing because I'm like, I'm about to get like 20 plus power at every other location, and then like I'd get maybe like 12 or depending what else was at my main location. And I would just auto win the other 2 locations. It was kind of funny. And Rogue was great because if I came up against another Patriot deck or any other powerful ongoings, Rogue would steal like an Iron Man. It would steal a Patriot. It would steal a Blue Marvel.
It's really good.
When Rogue stole Onslaught, it was hilarious. Stealing Onslaught and then pulling out an Ultron was just like, so it'd be like Patriot, Mystique, Onslaught, Ultron was just broken.
Yeah, I like this deck. I played a different variation to
Yes,
this deck.
so
but
I was
it looks good.
going to, a lot of people played Patriot with tokens, so they've had Debris and Squirrel Girl. I tried that for a while. My issue with it was sometimes you filled up locations too quickly, or you'd get a bad location that would spawn like the ninja, the -2 ninja, or or the 2/1 power cards, and it would just fill up the thing, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't really play anything. Like I'd get Ultron and I'd have a mad Ultron play, but all my locations were full, and I wouldn't draw Onslaught, and so I'd just have Patriot buffing like 1-cost cards to like 3. So the idea with this one was to play like Cyclops, Brood, Shocker, like just these like simple cards that don't take up. Like Brood was the only one that I guess, yes, it filled up a location, but if I didn't get Ultron, I would fill up that location for like an Onslaught play. Deck worked well. Probably nothing, I don't know. I would actually, there is one change I would make. I would put Dr. Doom in there, but I haven't unlocked him yet. But if you miss out on the Ultron, you can play a Dr. Doom and get 2 5 powers that get buffed by Patriot and stuff. That's like your fail safe, I guess.
Also, why are you playing Cyclops in this deck? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3-cost cards. Seems like a lot.
So it's pretty much like, say I don't hit Ultron. If I don't hit Ultron, I have to play cards with no abilities. I know you're saying there's a lot of 3-cost cards. And that's the thing. So a lot of people would play like Squirrel Girl as your 1-drop, which is probably fine. You could definitely substitute Cyclops or something for the 1-cost. Storm, of course, is if I have Ultron or I think I'm going to draw Ultron, Storm just shuts down the location and then I spawn all my Ultron drones there. So that's really cool. You're probably right. You could probably change the Cyclops to like a lower cost card for sure.
But it's a good deck. All you need to win in this deck is
Patriot, Mystique.
You can play like 4 cards and win. Whole game and win. You play Patriot, Mystique, Blue Marvel, and then Ultron, and you more often than not will win the game.
It's
a good deck.
For sure. Wes just said the one thing I knew someone was gonna say, and it hurts me every time. Maybe Wave. I do not have Wave. Whereas we in Australia, we didn't get the Wave. We didn't get to play during the first season where we got Wave in the season pass, and I still haven't unlocked Wave. It's like one of my last 5, 6 cards to unlock. Because that would work too. Wave would be great.
Yeah, I
Wave
do have
turn
all these
4,
cards, and
Onslaught
I do have
turn
Wave,
5.
so
Onslaught turn 5,
good.
Ultron turn 6. Double your Patriots. Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah, Wes is just like, wow. But this was the deck I used to get to Infinite. Shout out to Justin because you actually were the one that gave me the idea to play Ultron in the first place. You posted your Ultron deck list. I'm like, oh, this looks fun, and I just unlocked Patriot. But big shout out to Ridiculous Hat for Rogue and Invisible Woman. If you don't know who Ridiculous Hat is, he's this is a bit of a fanboy moment, but he's like my favorite podcaster. So when he followed the Infinite Snap podcast, a bit of a fangirl moment there.
Pretty cute.
Cute as. All right, cool. So that's pretty much, it was pretty cool. I thought we'd do a roundup of some Infinite decks. So guys, doesn't matter what pool you're in, there's a deck for you to try out. So go and do that if you're looking for a deck to play. And I guess we'll probably do that maybe like once a month. We'll like towards the end of a season when people have hit Infinite, we'll grab a pool 1, pool 2, and pool 3 deck. I grabbed these from Marvel Snap Zone. I'll have the link to that on the Infinite Snap Pod Twitter at Infinite Snap Pod. But I guess we can just pull them from other people that tweet. Like, we'll find some cool decks each month. Cool. It is time for everybody's favorite Marvel Snap quiz, Snap Who. Justin, have you... I'll explain the rules. Have you got a card chosen out yet?
I have got a card on my mind here.
Chat's still going on about, wait, you don't have Wave? All right. So, guys, I'll explain the rules very quickly. You guys can play in the chat. We're going to close the YouTube chat so we don't know. But basically, Justin is going to read the ability of a Marvel Snap card. I have to guess the power, the energy cost, and the name of the card. I get a point for each one that's right, so a maximum of 3 points available. Currently, between me and Justin and Tom, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here for today's episode, Tom and I are actually tied, and Justin is ahead by 2. So pretty impressive stuff there, Justin.
What can I say? I'm
the greatest.
the greatest TCG player.
Oh, we've had this argument. We've had this conversation so many times. The self-proclaimed greatest TCG player of all time.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I do I know the cards better than you, or have you just got like the bad draw? I know Tom's like probably lower on the collection level than us. So
Yes.
fair enough for him.
So
but anyway,
yeah. Have you got the have you got something cooked up for us?
I do have a card. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll give you the ability. On reveal, if this is at the middle location, +2 power.
If this is at the middle location, +2 power.
Yeah.
Is it on reveal?
On reveal.
You really thought you threw me, didn't you? 100% know what this card is.
What is it?
On reveal, if you play this at the middle location, +2, it's Medusa. It's 2 energy, 2 power. Wait. 2 energy, 2 power. Locked it in.
Are you locking that in?
Done. Lock it in.
Are you sure?
No, wait. No, I'm not. Sorry, I went really hard there and I didn't even think about it. On reveal, if you play this at the middle location, +2 power. Yep, lock it in.
Damn it.
Yes, I got it, didn't I?
That's 3 points for you.
Yes, I knew. You made me worry a little bit.
I threw in a curveball there.
No one plays it.
But let's go with an easy card, but yeah, that no one plays because maybe he's forgotten about it. He's got all these pull 3 cards on his mind. Maybe he's forgotten about the pull 1 Medusa.
That's so good. I actually, as soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, I know what this card is. And then when you said, "Are you sure?" I'm like, have I completely butchered this like last time when I was 100% sure and it was completely wrong? I'll bring up the card. And sorry, we're like full just roasting. If you use Medusa's fine. Yeah, everyone in chat got it as well. Medusa is like fine early on. As you guys rank up, there's way better 2-cost options. There is Medusa, 2 energy, 2 power. And if you played in the middle, +2 power. Yes!
I thought I could pull the wool over your eyes on that one.
I needed the points too. I'm falling behind. So that is another episode. Another round of Snap Who, everybody's favorite Marvel Snap quiz. Possibly the only Marvel Snap quiz. No, I'm sure there's other people doing Marvel Snap quizzes. The only one on a podcast, as far as I know. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Really appreciate you guys being here. There's tons of people in the chat tonight, which has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us live. You guys can join us live as well on the YouTube channel at ShadowDTV. I'm going to have the live stream scheduled, so you'll be able to see what time it is in your time zone. Guys, the Twitter, I plug it so much during the episode, but there's so many visual elements that I want you guys to like. They're kind of like visual aids, I guess, to the podcast. You can like completely listen and not look at anything and be completely fine and gather what's happening. But, those people that want to see the deck list while they're listening or they want to try it out later, you can see that at Infinite Snap Pod on Twitter. Guys, we were meant to have a guest today, but that has been scheduled for next week. We're keeping it a little bit hidden right now, but maybe we'll announce it before next episode. Guys, thank you so much in the chat. You guys are really contributing to the discussion, which is really, really cool. Like, it's not just us talking about Marvel Snap. We know a thing here and there, but you guys also have a ton of information that, we don't know, and a lot of the listeners probably wouldn't know as well. Guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks so much for joining us. Justin, did you have any last words for the episode?
Yeah, chat's been really good. Been enjoying their contribution. They fact check us sometimes, which is awesome.
I love it.
But yeah, what do we got? 1 or 2 weeks left on this season.
Yeah.
I'm keen to see it out. It's been a long season. But I will keep playing and looking forward probably to the next season now and also to finishing the collection.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, like on chat, like you said, fact check us. Sometimes they just give us the information that we don't know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
when does pool 2 start? And chat will just tell us, and it's like, sweet, because I couldn't remember. And it's not in the
Yeah,
notes.
that's right.
So chat, thank you so much for joining us, user All Legends. And thank you to our listeners listening on their favorite podcast app. You can find us pretty much on every podcasting platform. So share it with a friend. Doesn't matter what they're listening on, they'll be able to check it out. Or, I mean, everyone pretty much uses YouTube. It's hard to find someone that hasn't. So you can also listen and or watch on the YouTube at ShadowDTV. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next week for another episode of Infinite Snap. See yous.
Later.